Let's go through some sandbox applications you could use to protect your applications that interact with untrusted sources such as the internet. Particularly, you want to sandbox your browser and email client as a minimum. Some Windows sandboxes first. Have a look at this video on Buffer Zone. It's a commercial sandbox, but the video will give you a good idea of the sort of functionality that sandboxes offer.
Welcome to Buffer Zone. In this demo, we'll show you how Buffer Zone's virtual container technology blocks ransomware and other exploits, prevents them from accessing your files, and keeps them from infecting other users in your organization. We received this ransomware inside an email attachment. It's embedded in a Word file that looks harmless. When you open the file, the malware silently downloads onto the computer. By the time you realize that the file isn't legitimate and close it, it's too late. At this point, the malware keeps quiet, so a lot of users would decide that the file was just spam. But in fact, the ransomware is busy working in the background, locking our files. 10 minutes later, the ransom note arrives threatening to destroy the encryption keys if we don't follow their instructions. When we click on Show Files, we see a list of all the files on the disk that were supposedly encrypted. No worries, we are protecting email attachments with Buffer Zone. The infected Word file was opened in an invisible virtual container. When Word is running inside the container, it is actually segregated from the file system, the registry, and the computer's memory. When the ransomware tried to access our files, they were copied into the container. The ransomware has encrypted the copy, but our original files are safe. If the exploit tried to write to the registry or memory, it would also be fooled into accessing the virtual copy. The Buffer Zone container is also segregated from the network, so the ransomware cannot get out to infect other computers. To eliminate the ransomware, we simply empty the Buffer Zone container. You see that the encrypted files are gone, but the original files remain. Buffer Zone's patented containment technology provides protection from phishing scams, drive-by downloads, malvertising, zero-day exploits, and many other types of advanced malware. It enables you to browse the internet, open email attachments, and open files from removable media safely. Try Buffer Zone today. Learn more.
So there you are. This product looks good, but I haven't comprehensively tested it. It looks like they're aiming at the business market though and not for personal use, but it looks like a very good product for Windows only. Another sandbox type technology is Shadow Defender. Shadow Defender can run your system in a virtual environment which they call the shadow mode. Shadow mode redirects each system change to a virtual environment with no changes to the real environment. Not tested this one. This is Windows only. Another sandbox-like tool that works slightly different is Deep Freeze. And Deep Freeze is a kernel-level driver that protects the hard drive integrity by redirecting information being written to the hard drive or partition, leaving the original data intact. This redirected information is no longer referenced once the computer is restarted, thus restoring the system to its original state at the disk sector level. So essentially what this is doing is making sure that every time your system reboots, it restores to exactly the same state. This works on Windows, Mac, and Linux versions are available. But note, with this type of sandboxing, there is no protection until you reboot. So an attacker, for example, could read your files with malware until you actually do the reboot, and then when you do the reboot, the malware will no longer exist. There is also the Deep Freeze cloud browser and desktop. Another kind of sandbox is Return Nil. This creates a cloned version of your system partition to boot from and then work within. If anything does go wrong during your session, you reboot the system and the operating system environment is returned back to where it was before you turned Return Nil protection on. But note that there is no protection until you do that reboot, so an attacker could be reading your files with malware or key logging until you actually do that reboot. But once you do the reboot, your system is returned to normal and any malware or hacker would be removed. And this is what it looks like. It isn't just a sandbox or virtual environment, it also has additional features including file protection and an anti-executable function. It's free for private use only. The free Komodo firewall comes with a built-in sandbox and virtual desktop. The Komodo firewall is a good tool, but Komodo lately have made some mistakes with some of their security products, so I don't have a great deal of faith in this sandbox and virtual desktop. Some antivirus offer sandboxing functionality like Avast antivirus, although I don't recommend this as Avast are known to sell your data. Bitdefender also has SafePay, which is a limited functionality browser providing sandboxing.